Hey guys, welcome to my live stream. In this live stream, I'm going to be doing a little recap on what happened today, what the market did, and I'm going to be discussing what I think is going forward. Now, I'll start off with Tesla, and as people get in here, I'll start breaking down Tesla and where I think it's going to go. Now, if you didn't watch my recent video, I went into depth on what I think Tesla is going to do this week. So I talked about in the video and my previous videos that this pink line right here is a major support that we need to hold, right? So we held that today, so I think we're bullish going into Monday and the rest of the week. Now let's go into the hour time frame and see what we did. So this morning we did a whole lot of nothing, right? We sold off, recovered, and then just basically consolidated for the rest of the day. So we didn't do too much. Now I took a call option. If you didn't see my previous video, I talked about what position I took and what call I took. Now, as y'all are tuning in, let me know if you want me to break down a certain stock. I'll be more than happy to do that for y'all. So just let me know in the chat and I will do that for you. But also in the video, I talked about something we need to keep in mind going into next week is in order for us to continue this bullish momentum, we really need to get above the 626 mark, right? So right now, we're making this lower high pattern. We need to get above this area right here so we are not making this lower high pattern anymore, right? Because the lower high pattern is a bearish pattern. So if we continue this, then we'll just keep downtrending, and that's not what you want to see if you're bullish on Tesla. So we really need to get above this 626 mark, either it may be Monday or Tuesday. We really need to get above that. I have my stop loss right here for Tesla. So I'm going to stop out at 596 because I'm doing it based off of this candle wick right here. If we get below that, we're most likely heading down lower, and I don't want to be in that while we fall. Now, like I said, if y'all have any stocks y'all want me to break down, just let me know, or I'll keep talking about these EV stocks. But I'm pretty bullish on Tesla going into Monday. Like I said, they have that major news coming, as I talked about in my last video, where we have the inclusion of Tesla in the S&P 500 on December 21st, right? So they'll be included in the S&P 500 December 21st, and indexers, they have to start buying December 18th, which is a Friday. So keep that in mind. That will be buy-side activity. So that will be something important to look at. We can talk about NIO as well. Now, NIO, as I talked about, I came out with a video today saying that the news about the share offering the 60 million shares was a bearish sign to begin with, right? So we're diluting the shares, we're adding more shares, which brings the values of the cost down. Now, this is bearish initially, but overall, it's still bullish because once they sell those shares, we'll recover and then we'll head back to all-time highs once again, or near all-time highs. Like I said, I wouldn't be worried about NIO if you are holding shares. Don't even worry about it. And if you have the ability to, add on down here, right? So just be patient. We may get to $38 on NIO. Now, I'm not saying we will, but we may, and that would be a good dip buy opportunity just because we noticed that. Look how many times we hit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So sellers tried to push NIO down, but buyers came in 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a strong support. This is where I would be looking at a dip buy on NIO. But like I said, we could turn around right here, right now. That's why we always implement our stop loss just in case that does happen. We can turn around. Or if it does fall, we tag out and then we wait for a better entry. So the people that are just now tuning in, let me know what stocks y'all want me to break down. If there's anything specific y'all are in, just let me know in the chat and I'll be more than happy to break that down for you. How did y'all's day go? Did y'all get into any positions? What did y'all do today? I can also talk about XPing for y'all. So XPing. Sorry, no, it's not XPing. It's XPEV. My bad. Right, so XPing, it had another down day today, right? 49 cents. So it wasn't too major, but look what it held, guys. It held that support, right? So today we actually pushed up. What did we get? Highs of 46.72. So we actually pushed up quite quite a lot today, but then we sold off for the rest of the day. And look what we held. We held that support I was talking to you about. So this was a good area, or this is a good buying opportunity, this support right here, because it held it. I drew this line back here when it was right here, right? So 1, 2, 3. So it's held it 3 times now. So you know this is a good support area, and if we get below it, we're bearish. So keep in mind with that Xpeng, and I know Xpeng also had some news with their offering as well. They closed their transaction on their offering. So that was probably another reason why we've been selling off on these EVs, is because they're doing all these offerings to raise money for future technology, right? They're using this money for improving their autonomous driving. They're trying to expand their market. So they're using this money for good use. But like I said, it's an initial bearish reaction because you're adding more shares, right? So when you add something more to something, it becomes less valuable. Same thing with the stock market, right? If you have more of something, it becomes less valuable for the time being, right? And then eventually Xpeng will recover, so I won't be too worried about that. Now, what's another one? Oh yeah, I'm also going to have a video coming out about LI Auto. It's another one of these EV companies. Now, it's actually doing fairly well, or it's consolidating around this area that I drew out. So this is another support area that you can buy in. So if you want to get in, this is how I structure my trade for LI, right? I tag out right here, wait for another dip buy opportunity at the $26 mark. We hit highs of $48 at one time, but right now we're at a good range here. So we're consolidating. This is what you want to see. There's not a lot of sellers and there's not a lot of buyers, so we're doing this consolidation action, right? This is healthy for a stock to do. But if we do fall below this support, right, I think we're going to be heading back down to this support. So I would wait for that dip buy opportunity. Now, if you're in shares once again and you don't mind holding on to LI, don't worry about it then. Just stay in it, be calm, and eventually we will recover back, right? They're just doing these offerings right now, and that's causing the share price to go down because they're adding more shares for the moment. But Tesla did the same thing, right? Tesla did the same thing. We sold off. Now we're recovering. So I wouldn't be too worried about NIO, Xpeng, and LI at the moment because they're just doing the same thing as Tesla. Tesla raised $5 billion, so they're just raising money, capital, so they can provide that to add to their cars, right? So they're investing that into new technology. So I wouldn't be too worried about this. Tesla's doing the same thing. NIO's doing it. Xpeng's doing it. LI Auto. They're all doing it. They just need to raise capital for their business. But Tesla looks like the better one of the 4. Right? Tesla has been strong pretty much ever since the news of the S&P 5 inclusion. So I wouldn't be too worried about Tesla at all. Like I said, I have some calls in it right now. So I'm going to be holding that over the weekend, hoping for a quick pop on Monday and some continuation. Hopefully we hit $700 this week. If we hit $700 this week, I would be very, very happy. I wouldn't mind that at all. Now, with the overall market, let's take a look what the overall market did today. Well, it was collectively a whole lot of nothing, but we did have some major dips, right? We hit lows of, what was this, 12,238 on the NASDAQ. That's pretty low. Well, that was a pretty big day to only be down $19, right? So the NASDAQ actually recovered today, and I drew out the support. We're bullish above, bearish below. And look, guys, we held that. So on Monday, I expect us to at least hold this support still. If we have a slight pullback, I won't mind it. But I do expect we need to hold this area. If we don't, we're probably heading below. Now, let's take a look right quick at this area right here. So this is a level of interest right here. Right? So we can do a little mini support on this. So sellers came in, buyers push it up. Same scenario right here. Sellers came in, buyers push it up. Same scenario right here. So this is a little mini support I'll be looking at. Now, I still think we're bullish on the NASDAQ and tech in general because we held this support area, and I'm looking for some type of continuation going in the session on Monday. S&P 500, same thing. It's actually doing a little better than the NASDAQ, so it was only down 5 points. It was actually down at one time quite a lot too as well. So we were red this morning, but then eventually we did recover. All the new viewers that are tuning in right now, I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, if you want me to break down a stock, just let me know in the live chat. I'll be more than happy to do that for y'all. But right now, I'm just going over the market and I went over Tesla in the beginning. If you want me to go over Tesla again, just say something in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. But the SPY, it held this support. As soon as we got this support, guys, we instantly rebounded up. Now, this was a huge support because look how many times the price has flirted with this area before, right? We hit it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? So that's why this was a strong support, because we held this area so many times before, and then when we got above this support, we knew that was a bullish sign because of how strong it was back here. And look, something y'all need to keep in mind is old resistances become new support, right? So this was an old resistance. Look how many times we got rejected here. And then we finally pushed above, and that's why I knew, or I played it. I actually got some SPY calls because I knew this was a strong support, and if we held that, we were probably uptrending. So now the next level we need to look out for is this resistance. Notice how we got rejected at this resistance. So on Monday, we need to get above it, do the same action here, hold above it, and push up. And then I'm thinking we're bullish Monday and Tuesday, right? I'll go over Tesla once more for all the new viewers. So I talked about my video. If you haven't watched my video, we held this support. As long as we hold this support, guys, we're still bullish. But we need to see some type of higher high situation going on. So we need to get above this 627 deal right here. If we get above that, then we'll be making these higher high situation, not these higher low situations. So right now, we're making higher lows, right? So this was the first high low, this was the second, this was the third. Now we need to get above that, confirm it by retesting it, and then I think we'll be bullish on Monday and for the rest of the week. And we have a huge catalyst going on, right? We have indexers buying up Tesla because they need it in their portfolio by December 21st, right? And they start buying December 18th. So I drew this on my last video. Now this doesn't have to play out, right? This is just how I think Tesla will be doing, or what I would like to see Tesla do, right? So we get this breakout above this resistance, we come back and retest it, confirm it, we hold it, and then bam, we're back to all-time highs again. So that's what I want to see for Tesla going into next week. So that's why I did pick up those calls. Do you think ARK calls are safe? Okay, Justin, let's take a look at ARK. Well, I know about ARK. I know it's an amazing ETF. Wow, look at that. Oops, let me get off this tool for y'all. Yeah, man. If you're buying, what expiration are you looking at? Are you looking at long term, or are you looking at a couple weeks out? Like, what's your time frame here? Because calls, even though this stock is uptrending, you can still lose money on calls, right? Because depending on if you get in the money, out of the money, at the money, it all just depends on what ones you pick up. Because like pullbacks, if you're a month, yeah, if you get in the money calls, like, so when I say in the money, that means like calls that are at 123 or below, so 123, 122, they will be more expensive, right? So if you can't afford those, get at the money. So at the money would be like 124, 125, 126. You know, something really close to what the stock price is, because those are a little cheaper, but they're a lot better deal than something like at 150, right? If you get a call at 150, the delta, which is how much it moves per dollar, is going to be so low, and your theta, which is the time decay, so that's how much you pay each day, well, that's how much it loses value each day, right? It's going to be like really tight and close. So even though you'll see ARK moves up, you really won't move up a lot because of that theta. It would really destroy that call. However, if you get like a at the money or in the money, the delta is a lot higher compared to the theta. And then when we have these dollar moves, right, you gain a lot more. Like, let's say we gain $1 on ARK and you have an at the money call, it may gain $200, $300. Whereas if you have a really far out the money call, it might not even gain $20. So you see what I'm saying? So you have to really get a good deal with the calls. Just don't get calls that you can afford, because those will absolutely destroy you. They'll go to zero and they'll expire worthless. So a month is a good deal, right? But get the ones that are at the money. So I'd recommend 124 strike, 125 strike, 126 strike, so forth. So get something like that, and then you'll be completely fine, right? Let me actually look real quick on my phone what those calls are going for. I'll give you a number right quick. I just started last week. A couple days ago, I bought a call option for January 15th at 120 strike price. It's doing pretty good. When you think I should sell? Wow, man. So you bought a couple days ago at 120. Now, did you get in at this move or this? Where did you get in at? Did you get in when ARK was 120, or did you get in when ARK was after 120 and you just got a 120 strike? So let me know when you got in. So if you want a month out, you got January 15th. Okay. So 120 is 1,000. When it was at 121. Okay, so you're actually quite up a lot, right? So you probably were down a little bit today, right? Because it fell $1.33. But I'm looking at the option change right now on my phone. They're not too expensive. $1,000 for in the money at 120. So if you get if you get a 125 one, $800, $792. That's still not a bad deal. But Justin, when you're looking at the options, you need to keep in mind the delta and the theta, right? So the delta, it will say 0.60. So I'm looking at the one that says 0.60. So that means it moves $60 for every dollar ARK moves up, right? The theta is negative 0.1111. That means it loses $11 every day, right? No matter what, it'll lose $11. That's how much you pay. So on top of that, when it pulls back, you lose that $11, but you also lose the value of the call as it's going down. But if you got in when ARK was 121, you can stomach still quite a few pullbacks, right? So let's structure this trade out for you. If we're green Monday, I think you should sell, just because look at the run that ARK has been doing, right? We're kind of extending it up there. Now, I don't use indicators with my trading, but we can take a look at the RSI. Yeah, look how much we're in the really overbought territory, right? We've actually been in it some time. Now, I don't use indicators to trade just because I use price action. You shouldn't solely rely on indicators, but this gives you an idea of how overbought we are, right? So if we're up on Monday, I might consider locking it in, but let me try this out for you. So we know sellers are right here, right? Each time that we pushed up here, we got rejected. We got rejected twice. So we know sellers are at the 125.72. So that's all-time highs. Now we know buyers are right around this area right here. So we pushed down, buyers came in, then we opened here, buyers came here, we pushed through. We know that sellers were here at one time, they rejected it, and then eventually buyers came in to push through. So we know that this is a strong support area and this is a strong resistance. So right now, we're kind of in between this awkward area, right? So if I were to get in, now you have options, so that's a little different, but I would stop out probably that candle wick right here. That's how I structure my trade, man. And then I'd look to take profit above the resistance. So if you're in those calls and then we get above this area on Monday, or we get to even the 125 mark, I'd go ahead and lock those profit ins, because those will be worth quite a lot. Are you in anything else dealing with calls? Let me know if you are in anything else. Like I said, I'm swinging actually Apple calls. Oh yeah, let me go over that real quick for y'all. So I'm actually in Apple. Let me delete this. I got in Apple today. I actually got in, where did I get in at? I think it was the 120. Yeah, I got in right here. So this is how my trade is looking for Apple. Do you think it would be a good idea to hold it until after the Tesla catalyst, because my contract is until January 15th, or is that not a smart play? Well, I know ARK is invested in Tesla, right? But it's only a percentage of weight. So even if Tesla has a bad day, yeah, ARK does have 10%. It all just depends on how the other stocks are doing, right? Now, Tesla is probably honestly carrying ARK right now. What was the symbol? ARKK. Sorry about that. But yeah, Tesla's probably carrying ARK right now at a considerable amount. But like I said, I mean, if you want to lock in those calls before December 21st, go for it, right? If Tesla has a rocking day this week or a rocking week, go ahead and lock those calls in, because I think that after December 21st, Tesla will see some type of pullback, right? People are locking in profits. All of the investment banks that don't have to have it in a portfolio, they're probably locking in profits. So we probably will see some type of dip buy after an inclusion, and that will probably cause ARK to fall back. So I'd really watch ARK closely this week, and also how Tesla's doing, just because it is 10% of this holding, this ETF. So just keep in mind how Tesla's doing this week. And like I said, I'm bullish on Tesla this week, right? So I don't know if you were here when I drew this little scenario out. That's what I want to see. But Tesla doesn't have to uptrend on Monday, right? We can fall below the support and continue to downtrend. But that's why we have our stop loss implemented. So if that does happen, then we mitigate our risk, right? But ARK should do fine if Tesla is up. So consider locking in those calls if we are up. Don't get greedy with your calls. Lock in your profit, because you're probably up a little bit right now. And then, like I said, if ARK pushes to 125, 126, 127, those calls will be worth even more, just because you have some time on them. So the big thing with options is the more time you have and the further you are closer to the strike, the more it's going to be worth, right? So your January 15th calls, when ARK moves $1, those calls are going to move a lot more than a call for, let's say, December 21st, 24th, whatever the Friday is, right? So if someone has a ARK call for December 25th, your call will move more, even if they're the same strike price, just because you have more time on it, right? So calls, their value is based off of time and intrinsic value, right? So your call is going to move a lot more based off of that. So I'd lock those calls in, just because your delta is going to be a lot more higher than someone who has a call for, let's say, like I said, December 25th. So just consider that going into the session on Monday. But with Apple, I was breaking down Apple. I think we're bullish just because we held this support right here again on Apple. I know it broke this support. That's why I tagged out. I made a video on Apple earlier this morning. I tagged out because we gapped down, got back in because I saw that buyers were coming in, and then we held this area, and then we actually had a pretty bullish close. We did have a huge dip, like I said, on the NASDAQ this morning. That's why we dipped all the way down to 120.72. But then we recovered pretty much the rest of the day. Notice how that buyers came in here 1, 2, 3, 4 times now. So that was a signal for me to go long. I actually picked up 4 calls. I'll actually tell y'all my strike price for that. Give me 1 second. So I have 4 calls. They are expiring January 22nd, and they're at 122 strike price. So they're in the money, and they have over a month, for expiration. So my delta on that is $211, and my theta is $26. So every dollar Apple pushes up, my calls are making me $211, and every day that goes by, I'm losing $26 on that because of the theta. So I got in at $569, and they're worth $590 right now. So I'm up $95 on them actually right now. Now I can make an option video for y'all guys if y'all are confused about options. If y'all want me to do something like that, I can make a little 15-20 minute tutorial on how options work, because they are fun to play with, but you need to know what risk involved with that, right? And there's so much leverage than shares, right? You make so much more on options than you would shares. So that's why they are a little riskier, because you can lose a lot more. And especially with Tesla. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with options. If you see Tesla, like the option chain for Tesla, they are so expensive, right? Like a at the money or even in the money call for Tesla for next week's expiration is like $5,000 for just one. I'll pull up the option chain real quick. Yeah. So next week's expiration for 610 strike price is $4,000. That's insane. And all of Tesla's options have always been like that, right? They've always been so much more expensive because of that volatility, right? So options price are based off of volatility, right? So Tesla's a very volatile stock. Now, that's an interesting conversation we can bring up. So after the S&P 5 inclusion, I think the volatility on Tesla is going to die down, right? I think that we're not going to have these big upswings anymore, just because when a stock moves into the S&P 500, they start to slow down in their movement, right? So I don't think we're going to have these much big swings anymore once we get into the S&P 500. Just because, look, the S&P 500 moves very slowly. There's not too much spikes. And then also, they all have around the same weight. So Tesla going into the S&P 500 is going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting indeed. So I'm excited what this is to bring for Tesla, right? So the date will be Monday. It'll be included on the S&P 500. Not next Monday, but the following Monday. So that's exciting to watch out for, right? But I have my alert set, have my stop loss, my alert set at my stop loss, and then I also have alert set at this candle wick because I want to see us get above this and then ultimately get above this area right here. Now, Justin, are you in any more stocks or are you just playing ARK right now? And whoever else is viewing, you can type in the live chat what you're playing. Just let me know, and then we can discuss that. I can go over actually a play or how I would play it. Just let me know in the chat what y'all are going over or what y'all are in, and if you're swinging anything over the week. Oh yeah, another stock I've been eyeballing. I should have gotten into it, but I didn't get into this at support at 89. This was another support, so it fell through my initial support, right? So I had my stop loss here, tagged out, and I never got back into AMD. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I locked in my calls and I tagged out my shares. So when we push up to here, I locked in my calls and I tagged out my shares. I just put money in last week, but I got in BFT a couple days ago. Okay, Justin, so you're new to the stock market? Congratulations, man. I'm glad you have chosen this. It is interesting indeed. So you got into BFT. So this is one of those acquisition corps. Now, do you know what BFT is acquiring? This sounds so familiar. Do you know what they're acquiring? Let me see if we can find that. So PaySafe, is this the company they're acquiring? You've been watching stock videos all week. Oh man, I remember the first week I started like getting into the stock market. It was an amazing feeling, but trust me, man, it's a long ride, right? From initially when you start learning all of the lingo, how to break down charts, it's a long ride, and then actually investing with your own money, it can be scary, man. But I'm glad I'm here to help you, right? So since you're new, you have the luxury of learning from other people's mistakes, right? And even my own. So my best advice to give you for being new to stocks is always have a stop loss implemented, right? So in every video, I don't know how many videos you have watched of mine, you notice that in every video I have a stop loss implemented. So I have a take profit where I'm looking for a profit at, but I also have a stop loss. A stop loss will save you so much money in the beginning. Because what a lot of beginners do, they get into a stock, they don't have any type of plan of when they're going to get out or anything. So when that or huge red candles comes, right, they panic sell and they just watch it turn right back around. So it's good learning about, support and resistance lines, the basics, but it's also you need to implement a trade plan for each time you get in a stock. You need to know where your stop loss is, where your take profit is, and just different levels, man. And since you're very new, you don't have to go through the experiences of, losing money or a lot of money to begin with because you don't know what you're doing, right? Now this is new to you, but now you know how to trade. You know that you need to have your stop loss implemented. You need to have a plan in every single trade. So you're actually pretty lucky that you're starting out and learning like this. Yeah, I'm glad, dude. Like I said, it's very scary and very taunting to begin with because you're getting into something new that you don't know about and money's involved. So I know how it first felt. Trust me, man. I lost a lot of money in the beginning, but if you stick with it and you stay to it, even though you become discouraged sometimes. Trust me, I still get discouraged to this day, and I've been trading for 3 to 4 years now. Those losses do come up, and it's a bad feeling, but you just got to get over it sometimes and just move on. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, there is a lot of lingo to begin with to learn, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. But like I said, find your own trading style. So I like trading support and resistance lines. You might like trading something else, right? So just what I recommend is finding your trading style that suits you and just go with it. So that's what I recommend. And don't fall for those stock gurus that tell you that, hey, I can help you turn $5,000 into $1 million, right? You got to be realistic with yourself. Those people, I'm not even sure if they've done it, but if they did, it's either one, they invested in really risky stuff, or it took a lot of time. Because trust me, turning $5,000 to even $10,000 is an amazing task, because you doubled your account. So don't be discouraged by small gains either, right? Just be realistic with yourself, because if you can gain 10% each week, and you have $1,000, that's $100 a week. That's a lot of money. You said your first trade was that ARK call. I wanted to bet on ETFs initially because I feel that it would be safe. I mean, yeah, ARK has been going up quite a lot recently, so you just ride that wave. But like I said, get you an account on TradingView.com each night before market open. Just plan your trade out, man. Plan your trade out when the market's not open, so you're not influenced by the price action going on right now. That's what I do every night. I get on this when market's not open. I look at it. I'm clear-headed because I don't see the price moving, and I can see the levels clearly. Because when market is open, the price is jumping around, and you're getting emotional because you see the price go down a lot. But if you do this the night before and prep the night before, then you know what levels you need to look at. You know where your stop loss is, and set your alert, and then forget about it, right? You don't have to be glued to your screen 24/7, but I do like looking at the stock market, so I do look at it, but I relax. So if a red candle comes like this, I don't worry too much, because I know where my stop loss is, I know where my plan is, and look what happens. Imagine if you would have panic sold at the bottom right here. You would have watched it recovered and pushed up more. That's what discourages people, right? But if you have a plan, then stuff like that, you'll eliminate that type of stuff in the beginning and just go ahead and get rid of that. So that's why it's always good to plan out your trades. And a lot of new beginners, they just jump right into it. They don't have no sense, and they get lucky a couple times, right? They get lucky and they think, oh my goodness, the stock market's easy. But then they risk a little too much on their next trade, and that next trade looks like something like this, right? You get in at 105 and you watch it go all the way down to $91. That blows up an account. So like I said, since you're new, you can do this right. You can plan out your trades, and that's good that you're starting to learn when you first started out. It's your first week and you're already watching all these videos, so that's amazing, man. Trust me. So you're on the right track, and like I said, just keep watching videos, keep learning, and plan out your trades. But ARK does look good right now, and as we talked about earlier in the stream, that it does have Tesla in it, so that will be positive. Tesla pushes up on Monday, so it probably pulled back today because Tesla was down quite a lot today. So we were down $17. So I'd be wary of that. I'd be mainly looking at Tesla. So you can look at Tesla and ARK going into Monday. So you said you also were at BFT. So BFT is one of the SPAC companies. So are you holding this? Are you holding the shares through the acquisition, or were you just trading this, trying to get a push up, or was this a company that you were interested in? I have traded a couple SPACs. Yeah, I've been feeling glued just watching my trade since I just started. I know it goes up and down. It only matters when you cash out. Yeah, that's right. It only matters. You only make profit when you sell, right? And also something I want to recommend to you. Notice what time frame I'm on, right? So I'm on the 4-hour time frame. That means that every candle represents 4 hours. Now, this is why I'm a swing trader, so I like to hold multiple days. Something that kills absolute beginners is them getting on the 5-minute time frame, right? The 5-minute time frame will kill you'll be so emotional, because something on the 5-minute time frame will only just show up as a wick on the 1 hour, right? So in the bigger picture, if you stick to the bigger time frames, you'll be much better off. Because the 5-minute, you'll see this huge red candle, right? And you'll think, oh my goodness, we're heading to all-time lows. But in reality, it doesn't look that much on a bigger time frame. So another advice to a beginner I would give is stick to the higher time frames. Like even the 1 hour is a good time frame. But if I'm day trading, if I'm looking to day trade, I will go to the 15-minute time frame, but that's very rarely. But notice how that I charted these levels out on the 4-hour time frame, and look what happens. They are levels also on a 15-minute time frame. So notice how when we get to the support, we bounce. We get to support, we bounce. We get to support, we bounce. When we get to resistance, we fall down. When we get to resistance, we fall down. So when you chart something out on the 4-hour time frame, it's going to be a level on the 15-minute as well. So that's why I always do my charting on the 4-hour. So if I do drop down to the 1 hour, the levels will still hold the same. See, we get rejected, we fall down. We find support, we bounce. So that's why I do all my charting on the bigger time frame, because it's just much better. For the acquisition, because I feel like they would do well, since PaySafe is what Roblox and mini game services use for in-game. Oh yeah, okay, that's what PaySafe is. Oh, I did not know that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yeah, isn't Roblox IPOing really soon? Or have they already? Or are they in the talks of it? I know they're in the talks of it. But yeah, if a lot of games use this, and especially Roblox, yeah, this PaySafe will do amazing. This is a good one to hold on to. Thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention, man. While we're in here, let's go over Airbnb. How many of y'all traded Airbnb? I hope you didn't get stuck at the top, right? So Airbnb was supposed to IPO at like $60, $80, right? It IPO'd at, what was that? 143, and it hit highs of 164. Let's look at the hour. Yeah, look at that. That's absolute crazy. And then we've just sold off since then. So that's why you shouldn't be emotional and just hop into something because everyone is hopping into it, right? Because you know what happens? You get stuck at the top, and then you just watch it ride all the way down. So another advice to give to y'all is don't get emotional with your trades, and don't hop into something just because it's soaring up and you see other people making money, because trust me, you will lose on stuff like this. But we're just going to have to give Airbnb some time, right? So they just IPO'd, so there's not too much data to go off of, but we know that it did hit here at one time, and we know that sellers were up here, and we know buyers are up here. Let me try to chart this out. This was a mini support right here. So right now, bullish above. Once we get above this support, right, we're bullish above that. As of right now, we're below it, so we're bearish. But Airbnb is one of those ones where it just IPO'd, so it's really hard to chart out. Let's look at Dash as well, DoorDash. So DoorDash, what did it IPO at? 163. So it's actually doing better than Airbnb right now, but it did hit highs of 195. So DoorDash actually looks a little better. We didn't get that instant rejection like we did on Airbnb, but we do know sellers came here, buyers pushed it back up, and then let's see another area. And right here, let me chart this out for y'all too. So right now, as long as we hold this support right here, we're still bullish on DoorDash. We get below it, we're bearish. But those were two popular IPOs that just happened. Is there any more stocks y'all want me to break down? Just let me know in the chat. Whoever else is watching, just let me know if you are trading anything. And if you are, I'll be more than happy to break it down. I was trading Zoom at one time. It's been a bit of a disappointment, actually. Oops. MP? Okay. Let's see what MP is about. Wow. Materials Corp. It just looks like it's been an awesome tear. Sorry. Now, let's look at this. So, we know sellers came here, but buyers came and pushed it back up. So, we know that this is a level of interest. Right? We also know buyers came in, sellers pushed it down. So, we're right in this little range bound right here. Now, when you see these gaps right here, that means that there were no amount of sellers in this area right here. There were just straight buyers. So that's why we gapped up. So we gapped up, came screaming down, tried to find support, fell below this area. So you see that candle right here? Sellers came in, pushed it down, and then buyers came in once again, and now we're confirming and retesting this area. So we know that this is an important area to watch because, one, we came up, came screaming down, fell below it, and then we got rejected. So you said AH. Are you talking about after hours? Or is that a ticker? Because it didn't look like it did much in after hours. Is AH a ticker? Oh, it is. Okay. This one's doing amazing too. It's actually, hold up. It's actually doing a pattern I like to play. Oh, you were saying oh, okay. I'm sorry, man. But yeah, speaking of that, this is actually a pattern I like to play right here. So it was good you pointed this out. So this is an ascending triangle. So this happens when we're making these higher lows, but we're getting rejected at this resistance level. So what happens with this, we normally break out above, and that's a breakout. So good thing you actually said that, because this is actually an interesting play, and I actually do play them sometimes. Vincent, what's up, man? Glad to see that you're tuning in. Welcome back. I know you were in my last stream. You said, I saw a comment about XSpin closing public offering on your last XSpin video. What does that mean? Vincent, so did you watch my video about NEO? I talked about how they are doing that 60 million share thing where they're adding 16 million shares. Did you see that video? So NEO is adding 60 million shares. That's why we saw that decline, because when you add more to something, it loses value of it, right? Because you have more of it. Right, okay. So XPeng did the same thing. So we say closing offering. So right now, NEO still has those shares. They haven't been sold, right? So with XPeng, their shares, what they did when they did their offering, they've already been sold. So that's why I said a closing public offering, because their public offering has been closed because that transaction had already happened. With NEO, it hasn't happened yet. It's happening next week. So XPeng did the same thing. I forgot how much they raised. I think it